What is going on, everybody? My name is Keenan Costain, and welcome back to another episode of Hornets Recaps. And on today's episode, we'll be discussing this Boston Celtics victory over the Charlotte Hornets, 114 to 99. And without further ado, let's go over the box score and stats throughout this game. So, taking a look at the box score for the Boston Celtics, you had Jayson Tatum with 32 points, 5 rebounds, 8 assists, 12 for 23 from the field, 5 for 10 from 3. And you had Peyton Pritchard with 28 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, went 10 for 18 from the field, 2 for 6 from 3. And Neemias Queta with 17 points, 8 rebounds, 8 for 13 from the field in this game to go along with 1 assist and 1 steal. For the Charlotte Hornets, LaMelo Ball with 19 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 7 for 19 from the field, 3 for 12 from 3. Keenan with 13 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 5 for 13 from the field, 1 for 6 from 3. And Kobe White, 11 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 4 for 11 from the field, 1 for 5 from 3. For the Boston Celtics, 50.6% for them to the Charlotte Hornets, 43.4%. The 3-point percentage, not too good for Charlotte, 27.9% to Boston's 41.2%. The free throws, the Hornets winning that category, 78.9% to Boston's 72.7%. The total rebounds, 39 to 37 Boston, with 10 offensive rebounds for the Hornets, 8 for Boston. The defense rebounds, 31 to 27 Boston, 23 to 19 Boston. The blocks, 3 to 1 Boston. Steals, 6 to 2 Boston. The turnovers, 11 to 5 Boston, committing the fewest turnovers. The points off those turnovers, 11 to 7 Boston. Fast break points, 9 to 7 Boston, winning that one. Or excuse me, 9 to 5 Boston, and 52 to 40 points in the paint Boston, 1.24 to 1.206 for the points per possession. And the personal fouls, 18 to 17 Boston committing the most. The largest lead for Boston, 20 to the Hornets, 3. But my Hornets player of the game belongs to Miles Bridges with 14 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 5 for 9 from the field, 4 for 4 from the free throw line. Miles Bridges putting up the most efficient stats for the team. Wasn't a great shooting night at all if you're a Hornets fan. And Miles Bridges putting up some pretty decent numbers, but just wasn't meant to be for a team shooting about 40 to 42% for the game. So not much to say here. So Miles Bridges is your Hornets player of the game. So what are my thoughts during this game? Well, I thought it was a pretty solid first quarter for the Hornets. The Hornets in this game in the first quarter only had, let's see, taking a look at the box score by quarter, they 21 points to Boston's 27. So the Hornets were only down by 6 entering the second quarter, and it just got worse from there with Boston going on a huge run throughout the second quarter. And it's just basically it was an uphill climb for the Hornets, being down as much as 14 to 15 by halftime, and it was just a bad shooting night. 43.4% to make a correction that which I said earlier. So the Hornets not so good in last night's game shooting the ball, and 3-point percentage was way down, shooting a 27.9%, and which is a 12 for 43 as a team. And there was also bad execution as well. There's no ball movement, no nothing like that, especially when the Hornets were trying to come back in the second half. It was just, hero ball, as they say, and there was no identity attached during the run. However, the Hornets were able to make it a 9-point game in the fourth, but it was too little, uh, and too little execution, if you will. For the Boston Celtics, Jayson Tatum was on such a huge tear in this game. Did not miss a beat whatsoever in this game, and he usually plays well in the Spectrum Center and for the Hornets in general, averaging about 26 a night. And the Celtics, Jayson Tatum, shot a 52.4% rate. So let me do the math for you guys right now. So 12 divided by 23. Yep, 52% in this game alone. So Jayson Tatum on a heater and just could not miss whatsoever. And shout out to Jayson Tatum coming back from that Achilles injury and is able to make a huge push and such a huge statement for the Celtics as well, locking up a playoff positioning in the Eastern Conference standings. In the end, for the Boston Celtics, Jayson Tatum and Peyton Pritchard put on a great performance if you're Boston, and they were embarrassed last time out on their home floor, basically losing by 30 to the Charlotte Hornets earlier in March. So it was pretty much a revenge game, but the Celtics did it on the Hornets home floor. So shout out to them for getting it done. And there was no Grant Williams in this game, resting for injury management, and Grant Williams hasn't been able to play in a back-to-back just yet. And this is the first time all year that Kobe White has been able to play in a back-to-back situation. And with that being said, with no Grant Williams, Liam McNeely was able to suit up and get some minutes with no Tijon Salon in this game, who is dealing with some injuries himself. And Liam McNeely and Tijon Salon will go down to the G League. They get some more reps, and we'll see what happens with the rotations next time out. With the starting five, the record is now set at 27-8 on the year. Still pretty good, still pretty great. With LaMelo Ball, Conkin, Miles Bridges, Brandon Miller, and Musa Diabate on the starting lineup. It was just a bad shooting night, like I keep mentioning over and over and over again in this episode. And it is a much needed rest. It's a much needed wake up call, maybe. I would say it's a learning experience from all the winning the Hornets have been doing the past month and a half. And maybe this is a time for them to reset and to get better as the season closes. Taking a look at the standings in the Eastern Conference for the Hornets, they are down to the 10th positioning, and Miami, surprisingly, lost to the Indiana Pacers 135 to 118. So that means the Hornets are currently tied with Miami for the ninth spot in the Eastern Conference standings, and Orlando got obliterated by the Toronto Raptors. And that game, the Raptors won 139 to 87. So no harm, no foul. If you're the Hornets, you know, it's a good thing that the teams ahead of you lost in this situation, that being Miami and Orlando being the 8th and ninth spot. And like I said, I'm going to keep saying this until the season ends, that the Hornets, in my opinion, can get the 8th spot in the play-in tournament seeding. That means the 8th spot I only has to play one game in that situation, while the ninth and 10th spot has to play two. So if the Hornets can get some much needed rest, which is today, and they play tomorrow, which we'll get to more here in a moment, I think the Hornets can possibly go on another run. That is my prediction. There's only 7 games left in the regular season, and the next game will be taking place on the road for a quick 1-game road trip against the Brooklyn Nets. So we'll see what happens after a much needed rest for today and the tough games of Philadelphia and the Boston Celtics was definitely tough losses. And this is a possibly a reality check for the Hornets just to get them rested and reset. That'll do it for another episode of Hornets Recaps. Again, my name is Keenan Costain, and if you like what you see, feel free to give it a like, subscribe down below for more. The next game will take place in Brooklyn on the road on Tuesday, March 31st for a quick one-game road trip, and we'll go back home on Thursday against the Phoenix Suns. And until next time, have a good one, folks. See ya. Bye.